right, it is the morning of day 9, I think. My first full day on the Camino Francés. I stayed in Granon last night in this beautiful Donativo parochial albergue. It's one that I'd heard a lot about over the years, and I hadn't stayed there the first time that I walked this Camino. And it was just such a beautiful experience. There was a big Camino meal that everyone helped prepare. And afterwards, there was this little meditative reflection time that those who wanted to go, we kind of joined with the hospitaleros in the choir of the church. So, we stayed in the church in kind of rooms right next to the main area of the church. And anyway, the whole thing was really special. They had this kind of all these candles lit, and pilgrims had the opportunity to share something, and then everyone kind of joined hands at the end and gave each other big hugs. And it was just this really, really kind of unique and special experience. And there was a really fun group who was there last night, and it was a lot, I think, for me to go from, a week of solitude into this really boisterous kind of evening. But I think it was also really good for me. And right now it's kind of a gray and quiet morning, but I'm thankful right now that it doesn't feel too busy. Other pilgrims were saying that they haven't had any problems finding beds or places to sleep. So, I was kind of a little nervous, but also very curious about what this Camino was going to be like. So I think, it does feel very much like this is the second part of this Camino adventure. So I still have to settle into this to see how it's going to be, but I think it's also going to be a really beautiful part. I love seeing all the services here on the Francés. So we've got massages here. Got a nice fountain there. Got the little church. And we've got some vending machines up ahead at this albergue. Looks like a pharmacy vending machine. Anything you can need to treat those blisters. Forward and then look back in about 15 steps. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. All right, leaving Belorado now. It's been a kind of interesting day of walking. It is very gray and very chilly out. I think it's like 55 degrees. It's so cold. I've been thinking I would stop and have a picnic lunch and sit outside, but it's just too chilly. So I've stopped a couple of times and sat indoors where it was warm to have a drink and a little bite to eat. But otherwise, I'm just gonna keep on walking. I don't have a very long stage today. I think it's gonna be 22 or 23 kilometers, which feels good. I keep reminding myself I'm really in no hurry. And I think a little later I might do some bigger stages, but this feels pretty good for now. The Camino's been very quiet, and I appreciate that. I know there are other pilgrims out here, and there were some ahead and behind when I was walking this morning. Right now I really don't see anyone. So I don't know, it's been an interesting experience to be back here. At this stage today, this is another kind of uneventful, uninspiring one. And it's just kind of interesting because I think when I looked back on the Camino Francés and my first experience, it was the first Camino I'd walked. It was all so new and so different and so exciting that stages like this, they were great. And it's not to say that this stage today isn't great, but I've walked so many other stages on various other Caminos since. And this one is pretty, again, uninspiring. I'm walking by the road a lot of the day. It's pretty flat, just through some fields, wheat fields, from kind of town to town, village to village. So not the most exciting. I mean, it's fine. But it's interesting how I looked back on my experience on the Francés and it was like, oh, every day was so exciting and full of adventure. And now that I'm back again after 8 years, a day like today, I'm like, oh, yeah, it's like a fine stage, but nothing too exciting. But anyway, I think it just kind of feels good to be settling into the walking. I feel pretty strong today. I felt really good yesterday. So I think my body has adjusted. My pack doesn't feel too heavy. So it just feels good to be walking. To sit down for dinner in the albergue. This is the first course.
No, to make this one. This is a carbonara.
Yeah.
I don't know how to make carbonara.
¿Qué es el
¿Sabes hacer carbonara?
Carbonara.
¿Sabes?
Sí, sí,
no,
claro.
Yo no sé.
¿No? Sí, sí.
Quiero
sí.
aprender.